FIRPTA could come into play. And the people that are going to be interested in this are going to be buying properties over $300,000, right? So there is going to be a withholding tax. You probably are going to have to pay some form of capital gains tax here in the United States, and then that will release the remainder of whatever is sitting in the lawyer's trust account, right? Or whatever's sitting in escrow.
And I'll piggyback on that. And that's right. So you sell a property, the sale price is more than $300,000.
Right.
FIRPTA is applying. There's no exemptions at that point. It's just a matter of if it's 10 or 15%. And there's some nuances to, again, how the buyer's going to use it. And if it's under $1 million, we can get a reduction down to 10%. If buyer signs the primary residence affidavit and it's under $1 million, we can drop the 15% down to 10. That said, over 300,000, Canadian sellers should be expecting a 10 to 15% tax based on the sale price. Now, that said, that doesn't mean that that's the tax that they actually owe. That's just the preliminary figure that we have to use to calculate it before we actually dive into the financials. In order to understand what the true tax liability is for that seller, they'll often hire a CPA or they'll hire a firm, perhaps FIRPTA Solutions or one of these firms that specifically focuses on FIRPTA transactions. They'll dive into the basis of the property. They'll understand your costs, your expenses, any capital improvements you've put back into it to get a true understanding of, I bought it for this amount, I put this amount of capital improvements into it, I sold it for this amount. This is actually my tax exposure. It might be quite less than the 15% that we as attorneys have to hold back in trust.